Rappers Young Thug and Gunna are facing RICO charges in Georgia. Let's get into it. My name is Jamahl Kersey. I'm a criminal defense attorney in San Diego, California. And in this video, we're getting into the major news story that broke yesterday regarding Young Thug and Gunna's RICO charges. And so in this case, there is a 56 count indictment charging 28 members and associates of YSL, including Thug and Gunna. And so prosecutors allege that YSL stands for Young Slime Life, and it's a criminal street gang that started late in 2012 in Atlanta. And they also allege that YSL has affiliation with the National Bloods gang. YSL, interestingly enough, is also Young Thug's record label. It stands for Young Stoner Life. And so if you listen to Young Thug's music, you'll hear him talk about YSL quite a bit. He's also into designer fashion. So I actually thought that YSL was for the clothes. Apparently, it's either for his label or for the gang. And so there are allegations of murder, armed robbery, and participation in criminal street gang activity. This is a major case. And so you've probably heard of RICO charges over the years, but may have been wondering, what is it? What does it mean? What does RICO even stand for? So RICO stands for Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations. And so racketeering is an organized scheme. It's basically a pattern of criminal activity versus a one-off single criminal act like a domestic violence charge or one robbery or one burglary. So it's a pattern of criminal activity. So there are different types of organized crime that can be considered a racket. Most commonly, you've probably heard of illegal gambling, counterfeiting, money laundering, and prostitution rings. So Young Thug specifically is facing charges of participation in street gang activity and conspiring to violate the RICO Act. And then Gunna is facing 1 count of conspiring to violate RICO. Now, one of the interesting aspects of conspiracy is that you don't actually have to complete the crime in order to be guilty of the charge of conspiracy. So basically, conspiracy is when 2 or more people enter into an agreement to commit a particular crime, and then any one of the people who entered into the agreement commit what's called an overt act in order to affect the object of the conspiracy. All right, so to break that down, let's just take a bank robbery, for example. So let's say a few guys get together in a basement to plan a bank robbery. All right, so the bank robbery itself is going to be the object of the conspiracy. And so in the planning, somebody's got to be the getaway driver. They got to get a getaway car. Someone's going to be the lookout. Someone's going to have the guns. There may be a guy who has a friend on the inside who can help them out with scheduling. They're probably going to have some maps, all these things that are going to go into them planning out this bank robbery. And so the overt acts in furtherance of the conspiracy would be the getting of the necessary tools, the securing of the guns, getting the clothes, the masks, the gloves, getting the car they're going to use. All of these would be considered overt acts in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit a bank robbery. And so even if the actual bank robbery is not carried out to completion, the participants or the co-conspirators could be charged with conspiracy to commit the bank robbery. And so one of the biggest allegations against Young Thug in this case is being tied to a murder. So in 2015, a guy named Donovan Thomas was shot to death in a drive-by shooting outside of a barbershop in Atlanta. And there were actually 2 other people in this situation that were shot and injured. Young Thug's tie to the situation is that he is being alleged to have rented the car that was used in the drive-by. Really, in the conspiracy context, if there was a plan or an agreement to murder Mr. Thomas, then if it were part of the plans that Young Thug would rent the car so they would be able to get this car and use it in the murder, then the renting of the car could be considered an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder. Now, I haven't actually seen the indictment in itself, so I don't know what the specific charges are, but one of the possibilities possible defenses that jumped out to me would be Young Thug had no idea what was going to happen with the car afterwards. So just because he rented a car and then that car happened to be used in a drive-by doesn't mean that he was in on it, had any knowledge that this was going to happen, or was a co-conspirator. It may very well be that he was, but it also could not be. So these are details that we're going to have to end up seeing as this case develops. It's very important to recognize and remember that he has the right to remain silent. He's innocent until he's proven guilty. But again, you know, there's numerous counts in this indictment, and there's serious charges. One of the other major allegations in this case is regarding two YSL associates who apparently worked to get Young Thug's permission to make an attempt to murder rapper YFN Lucci while he was in custody at Fulton County. So, you know, here we have attempted murder. There was an actual murder that was carried out in 2015. There's a lot of other major and serious allegations. And so, you know, at the end of the day, the exposure for Young Thug and his associates and Gunna is a lot of time in prison. This is a major case, and so it'll be very interesting to see how the case develops in and of itself, and the defense as well. What tactics, what strategies will ultimately be played out. I know Young Thug's attorney has already issued a statement saying that Young Thug has done nothing wrong at all, and so there's already been a proactive approach to addressing the case in the media. So let's just sit back and see how this thing plays out. If you liked this video, please be sure to show me some love, hit that like button. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button so you never miss a new video when it drops. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.